Red. Recording.
Is it on? All right, the time is now 7 p.m. I'm going to call to order the December 13th, 2017 meeting of the Tilton Budget Committee. First order of business is to review and discuss, if necessary, the meeting minutes. I believe everyone has a copy. Take a few minutes to read it, please.
I don't touch it.
All right, everybody had an opportunity to read them.
I'll make a motion to accept the Tilton Budget Committee meeting minutes of December 6, 2017.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The next is to discuss the select board draft budget. And as you can see, we have two select boards here. Well, I know you do, as well as, if you let me finish. You're out of order.
I usually am.
Yeah.
I take pointers.
Plus our ex officio, we see and welcome every week, Mr. Scanlon. So we will let you discuss your draft budget.
You left Tim on.
He spoke with us last week, so out of order since we had, the draft budget was not allowed to be discussed. That's all.
I'm sorry, good mine. Actually, I think it's pretty close to.
Almost pretty down. There's a couple of changes.
I was
We
gonna
got
say,
dental and
Are we
then,
allowed to discuss this since it's a draft budget?
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean-
Well, I don't know. Wayne was very adamant
Wayne
last
said last
week.
week we shouldn't be discussing something that was draft.
Right.
Well, it's the selectmen's budget, It's
fine.
our default budget.
And we had already gotten a
If we
copy.
change it from here because an insurance has gone up, but I think we got them all in, don't we? Got the dental in.
And we often have finance reports that aren't finalized, so, and we are allowed to discuss those, so that was a moot point as far as I was concerned.
One thing that did come up that the selectmen have not voted on was an increase in the
Oh, whoops.
envelopes for the tax collector for
$400.
absentee balance. It's around $400 or so.
But we'll discuss that
We'll
Thursday
discuss
night.
it Thursday night and then send it out if we vote on it.
All right, and everybody had a copy of the budget, and I know that Stephen had some questions on fines. You want to bring that up since we talked about
Well,
Stephen?
that was on the,
Revenue.
revenue.
Okay.
3401.1, police department, police fines.
Yeah, I can speak to that, if you like. Those are everything other than parking fines. So there have been 3 citations given out that generated a fine. And I have a recommendation that I'll be discussing with the Board of Selectmen tomorrow to combine the PD parking revenue and the PD police fines lines, just to read police fees and fines.
Out of curiosity, did they ever offer or issue summons or fines for people jaywalking in downtown Tilton?
They may have at one point in time, but I'm not aware of in recent, that'd be a good question for the police department, but
Yeah.
I'm not aware of any.
Not recently.
I'd probably run right to no.
We'll be
The-
meeting with the police
The
department.
majority of the parking revenue, or I should say a good portion of it, about half that parking revenue are permits. So that's not all parking fines, but there have been numerous parking fines as well.
The citizens of Tilton are very good people.
What about jaywalking?
They don't jaywalk.
Oh, I see.
They're the worst. Right across from Polly's to Billy's.
And I know somebody high up in the police department that's walked with me.
Mhm.
Well, if the actual DOT had their way, we wouldn't have crosswalks.
And
So,
if DOT had their way, we wouldn't have the crosswalk by T-Hawk.
that's right,
And that would be a lot of jaywalking then.
that's right. So rather than go through this line by
Well, I
line,
know, if we have had it
Have
for
any
2
questions?
weeks, and it's not really a question, it's a comment. I noticed that I believe we agree on all of the
Outside agencies.
outside agencies, with the exception of New Hampshire, of the First Sight. And I wondered why.
Well, we
If you
don't-
watch the tape, I believe one of the reasons we went with the increase was that their service to the elderly in our community had increased by 36% this year.
I think the feeling of a lot of the Board of Selectmen was we tried not to give any increases in the outside agencies. I mean, they're spending taxpayers' dollars, and we wanted to spend as little as possible. These agencies get funding from a lot of other sources, rather than just the town. So I believe we level funded it from last year.
Mhm. Good.
178, 640.
But to get a real answer, you'd have to ask each one of the selectmen.
Okay.
There was another one that we dipped it into.
Well, CASA, I believe, but it doesn't show on here.
Yeah, you did 1,000 for
We
CASA.
gave CASA 1,000, we
Right,
did
and-
500.
And then the last
But I
5
believe,
years, we've given CASA 500, and so that's why we stuck with the level funding. on that.
we had several, for instance, visiting nurses for requested an increase.
Services
And
to
you
the
did
town.
give them the increase.
We did give them the increase.
Okay, so that's not true, you did give some, that's why I'm looking for.
Well, that's a
several.
service that they actually,
So it's for site.
We
I
gave
think-
CASA 500,
Yeah, we gave them
they asked for
1,000.
1,000.
right. And we have 0 for department requests.
That's because it.
They come late.
I don't believe you got a request from them.
We had 3 that didn't receive their,
There was a request, yeah. I
We
need to
got
update
0
that.
in there,
I have to update that. We did have a request. It came in after.
but that's, what you see is what we did.
okay. Any other questions?
Maybe we should ask the board how they feel about level funding on outside agencies.
Our board?
Yeah, because we
We'll
voted
do
with
that
it.
later.
Oh, okay.
Not gonna change it tonight.
Okay.
I guess one of the things is, it seems like in 2017, we had some really high hopes for our revenues that didn't quite make it on a lot of areas.
I can tell you, we did just receive the payment in lieu of taxes, so that, you'll see that now go in. And with yield tax, I think there may be one as well that we've received. That just doesn't reflect here yet. Also, we don't get the rooms and meals until the very last day of the month from the state. So
Swing it.
that 187,000, or the, I'm sorry, 173,000 will be there. So some of these things are, it used to be we'd get it in the beginning of December, and now it usually comes in like the 30th or 31st. But we should get that.
Anybody else have any comments or questions?
I have a question, having to do with the water and the sewer. Any type of estimate on what it would cost to run water, just water, up Caleb Hill Road when they reclaim the road, once the pavement is already taken down?
No, we'd have to ask the district.
I think there's plans to put that into motion once they're,
That would be up to the district strictly.
that's up to the water district.
But we could ask. We could certainly
I'm
ask.
curious, I mean, the iron content up here is just, I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
And because I moved up here from West Virginia, and I had a short period of time to do that, and the realtor said, oh, the water's beautiful. He didn't say it was beautiful orange.
You had coal flecks in your,
Well, there's also a plan to, with residents to get together to call the gas company to see if they're willing to, at the same time that the road is turned up, to put gas up through there.
I had asked them, I noticed they were putting gas up to the VA.
Yep.
I asked them, and they were coming back, I said, on Caleb Hill. And they said, oh, it's like $10,000 a foot. And I said, I said, well, what about when they reclaim the road? And that's when they said, oh, yeah, I'm talking to select because we can work on it. So we did, and they did. So they
It
looked
has to
into
be
that.
done at the same time that they reclaim the road.
Yeah, we can ask that question.
Right.
That's good. I like that.
But they have to, the residents have to initiate it to the gas company, and then they come to us.
the gas company and the water company. You can initiate with the water company though, right? The selectmen?
I think the water
We
company's
can ask them.
initiating it on their
Yeah.
own
On their
already.
own?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Revenue source.
actually, we should probably tag them on that, because Scott's usually proactive on it, but since he's
But
gone.
he's gone now,
He's gone
so.
now, so.
Well, the question is, have we made them aware of the road project?
Yeah, he's.
I know that he was aware of it.
Yes, but the current
he's not
commission
there
is.
now, so
Right.
I don't know.
We should be, but we'll make sure.
And Arthur's a commissioner, but he's not here tonight.
Can you do the water without the sewer? Or is it-
Yes.
Mhm.
They're not,
Because the sewer's
they're
in
two
town.
different.
Yeah, the sewer is not gonna go up there.
Okay, well, I didn't want the sewer up there.
Or at least
the
there's no
water.
plans for it.
Because then you can put nice little fire hydrants up there that help the police department.
You mean fire?
You mean the
Fire
fire
department, I'm sorry, yeah, fire department.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments? Right, and you'll get us the final figures once you get that information on the insurance?
I
The
think we
insurance
did.
are in there.
You
Well,
got
oh,
today,
dental
right?
is-
The
No,
dental
we-
is not.
The dental is, but the medical, we have until Monday before we'll have final.
Oh,
Because
closing.
They can switch
they
plans
can
now.
switch, it's open enrollment
enrollment.
right now. That's the wait.
Plus the update on the revenues on here.
Right. Yeah, and as you go through your meetings with Highway Department and Police Department, I'll have updated budgets for you, and as you're voting on things, I'll include your column and update that, so that we've got a comprehensive thing once we get ready to do the town report. This will be the town report.
All right.
I think, well, one of the questions is, there was a lot of discussion on the welfare budget. I think we should settle that.
You mean the selectmen had a lot of discussion?
Yeah, I think, that's something that maybe.
There was quite a bit of discussion on it, and we decided.
Understanding where
That's at the
everybody's
top.
coming from.
It's at the top of page 5, the very top item.
Okay.
There was concern that it should be going down, or possibly it should be going down because of, the economy is a little bit better and that,
There's a handful of clients that have really generated probably the vast majority, or a good portion of this expense this year, probably about 40 to 45%. Is a handful of situations that were out of the ordinary from a historical perspective. And in the past years, way past, we used to budget $50,000 a year, and I think we were seeing experiences of anywhere from 18 to 25 in that neighborhood. And then I think, in fact, if you look at that average over the 4 years of 2013 through 2016, it's less than $20,000. So we are going to overexpend that slightly this year because these expenses are updated as of 12/13, and there's still some expenses to come in for welfare through the end of the month. But the selectmen, after a great discussion and consulting with the welfare director, decided to level fund it.
one of the things is, this year, 2017, is that anomaly that's going to carry forward to the next year, or are these one-time issues that will be resolved this year and will not be carrying on? And in hindsight, you can't expect those things to happen, but you can't necessarily always over-budget for it either. It's a very tricky.
Can't budget for the unexpected.
We didn't budget for the lightning bolt, knowing that if we did have an unexpected occurrence, as John described, that, at the end of the year, if we're running low on funds, that we can take it from, the Department of Revenue has a process, which we can take from the unexpended funds. So, yeah, we wanted to keep the budget as low as possible.
Plus, also, the welfare director does receive donations that are restricted for, based on who made the donation and what they made it for. So she does have additional funds accessible to her to be able to use for certain things during the year.
And I think that's the line item that I told people to go and take a look at nearby towns and see how well it's managed here. And the fact that she's a real pro in terms of using outside agencies. And
Yeah, I think pretty much even with Northfield, what they spend. I think they've spent about 30,000 last year. So, but yeah.
And we have a lot of, for instance, the Tilton Northfield Samberton Christmas Fund. I think there are a lot of things that come out of there that we might have people going to welfare for otherwise, in terms of food. I'm not talking about toys and things like that.
Oh, that fund doesn't come out of this line.
No.
No, it doesn't, that's what I said. We have other things that help out in situations like that.
Right.
Lessen some of the burden, free up some
Yeah.
money for
Yeah.
people to spend
Town
on other
welfare
things.
is not supposed to be permanent. It's supposed to be a temporary step through until they get on to state or federal.
Do we have some long-term clients?
We did last year, or this year, 2017 we did.
We do, and then.
The
by
state
law,
wasn't
we
picking
need
them
to-
up.
And by law, we need to hold on to them. But
We should send a bill to the state.
What we have
Looking at the budget,
catastrophic illnesses.
are we level funded, above funding, or below funding at this point in time from this year?
From 17 to 18, the operating budget is down 1%.
1%? Okay.
One of the primary reasons for that is that we paid off Business Park Drive debt this year in 2017, so that, we're absent $143,500 payment. But the budget is down $52,215.
Good.
And that's
With all the
absorbing
additions.
dispatch and everything.
Okay.
Yep, so we're down 1% for the operating.
Good job. Hmm?
You've done this a few times.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Any questions?
Yeah,
That's
I
it.
believe so.
I think it's a
Great.
pretty good budget.
Yep.
Thank you, Tim.
That's two thank yous you've gotten, Tim.
He does
I'm
most,
gonna take my son home.
Good job,
he does most of the work on it.
Timothy. Go and enjoy the East with your son.
Your PD next week, right?
He's poking out of here.
Please
The
have
police department next week,
Police department next week.
and then the highway the next week.
Are you meeting over there?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Okay.
Tell Chief Cormier to have some snacks and goodies ready. He had a whole ton
Oh,
there
and that was
last
fine, but
year.
that was to come out of his personal budget.
Oh, yeah.
Not the town budget.
There you go.
No cigarette and chocolate.
Yeah, I can't eat that. Good.
So that basically is the announcement, is that next week we'll be meeting at the police department.
You can go and visit the toilet. Expensive
That's
stainless
old
steel
now,
toilet.
though.
Bethesda?
That's old now, they'll want to replace that soon.
Add another seat, have two seats.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. If there's no other business, I'll entertain a motion.
In order to do,
I'll make a motion to
make
adjourn.
specs, it has to be stainless steel.
All right, all in favor of adjourning, please say aye. Aye. Opposed?
I should have stayed.
oh, and
Wayne, we're
are
so
we
good
meeting
you
with
adjourned.
Parks
I know, and you're calling to adjourn.
Parks?
I was meeting with,
Okay, then we'll have a meeting with them.
And
So see you.